Hey everyone at the CCC, this is me, Spider Slayer from Comic Book Corner, saying what's up guys. Welcome to another episode of Classic Spider-Man Tales, and basically what we're going to be doing is kind of like a tribute to what's going on in the Spider-Man today. So right now we're doing what, Ends of the Earth? Well, now I'm going to be reviewing, that's right, Amazing Spider-Man issue 334, The Return of the Sinister Six, part 1 of 6. I think that's what it was. Yes, I'm going back in time to the year 1990, back in the day when I was reading Spider-Man comics, and this was Sinister Six's big event at the time. There was a lot of things different here about Spider-Man. First of all, the art. Eric Larson took over this book probably, I think maybe it was issue 333 or 332. And this is where I fell in love with Spider-Man. I mean, honestly, I love the McFarlane issues. And then when Larson took it over, I loved it even more because I just like Larson, how he does Spider-Man. I think he drew Spider-Man perfect. I think he did all these cool exaggerations, added a little bit more character detail to him. How he did the villains was just phenomenal. So my goal is to do, again, all 6 of these issues. And we're going to start here with issue number 334, and here's a quick glimpse of all the covers. This was just a fun series for me to read. Things were quite different also for Dr. Octopus. Here's Dr. Octopus in this particular series. This is what he kind of looked at like back then. A man in a business suit, totally normal, had his 4 mechanical arms. That was Dr. Octopus then in the 90s. Well, here's Dr. Octopus today. I mean, he is completely different, rebuilt, restructured. He's on his last legs. He's dying. It'll be interesting to see in the Ends of the Earth if he does die. If it is, it'll be a sad day in the comic world because he is a legendary villain. Okay, so with that being said, we are going to start with this walkthrough on Amazing Spider-Man issue number 334. So in the beginning of this issue, we see Electro here, and he is just flying through the sky, and what it is that he is just going through, and he's going through this some kind of I don't know, electric thing that Dr. Octopus had set up for him. So basically it was just a setup just for him and Doc Ock to get together. But going back to this artwork here, you can see like these big panels and all these details that Larson drew. I mean, this is cool Spider-Man right here. I love Spider-Man. And even Electro, going back to this, look at Electro. I mean, these are Larson's drawings. And in the beginning, Larson didn't have many fans on how he drew Spider-Man. But as time went on, people learned to adapt to him and like him a lot. So we can see that Dr. Octopus is in the picture here as well. So these two guys were teaming up, and basically what's going on is Electro is the first recruit of the Sinister Six in this particular issue. Again, we can see Doc Ock here in very fine shape compared to what he is in these days. And he's got octopus arms flying all over the place. And you can see here in this panel here that he's just talking to Electro and his arms are just doing all the work. And you can see the exaggeration in the characters. Again, that's what I loved about Larson's work. Detail and creativity in Dr. Octopus's face. And basically what happens is Dr. Octopus and Electro, they escape. They use the security guard as innocent bystander to get away, and that's what happens. The one thing I wasn't not too curious, too great on the artwork, again, going back to it, because I'll talk about the art a lot in this book, is how Larson was drawing Peter and some of his characters. Here we see a scientist with these big lips, like he draws every character that way. Even Parker's got some lips, here, and he kind of looks like a little boy. Not too crazy about that. And every one of his characters have like these scars, So I'm like, I don't know if it's like the shading process or whatnot, but it's kind of weird. So. But as this little science thing is going on, Iron Man, you can see, comes around, and they're all infatuated by Iron Man. Like, ooh, Iron Man! He's bringing like this big machine, and then Iron Man just takes off. He's like, I gotta go to the West Coast and go to the West Coast Avengers. Some classic shit right there. And then like Peter's like all jealous, and he's just sitting there going, "Oh, look at me! I can lift this heavy machine too." And he's all jealous, like, of Iron Man, that he's not getting this attention. In this book, also, we get to see Mary Jane acting, and she's acting in a part called Secret Hospital, which is a soap opera, basically. And we can see Mary Jane. I mean, she's done up here, so you don't really see the true character, but she's got big hair in the way Larson draws, and then these are her big green eyes. She's drawn very well, very voluptuous, bright, big eyes, very pretty. But you could tell that this book is totally 80s, 90s style with, again, big hair for Mary Jane and like mullet style Peter Parker, But basically we go into the issue again, and we see that Nathan is kind of like, I guess, Aunt May's boyfriend in a way, I guess, and she's watching over him, and she's worried about him, and he's going out to run an errand, and I can just say that, what is up with Aunt May, dude? She's like, seriously, she looks like a zombie or something. I mean, seriously, she's like the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt. I mean, look at her. She's like ancient looking. And but anyway, Nathan goes out on this bank run, and he gets all this money from his bank account, and he is being attacked by some of your just common thugs. And what happens is Peter was sent to watch him, and all of a sudden he realizes that there's trouble, and he gets into his Spider-Man costume, and he starts beating the shit out of him. Excuse the language, sorry. But one thing that Larson started doing that a lot of artists do now with their characters and their masks is that he was one of the first people to draw expressions based off of their mask. So you can see here that Spider-Man at the time was able to open and close his eyes, and you could kind of see the facial expressions on him. So you can see here that he's angry. Now everyone in the beginning sat there and made a big deal about it, saying, how can you close your mask eyes? Which is totally acceptable, but it's just a way to see what's the expression behind the mask. So I thought that was pretty cool. So as Spider-Man is fighting these thugs, he eventually beats them up, and so does Nathan with his, Nathan's friend there with his little walker and stuff like that. So, was it like the best first issue into it? No, but it had to start somewhere. So basically what happens is Nathan comes back home, and Aunt May's like, oh, thank you, Peter, for watching over him. And, Mary Jane is like, oh, you're such a great, husband here, Peter. And, she gives him a hug. And Aunt May is like, oh, you guys are so perfect. And, it's like an episode of Full House or something, And at the end of the issue here, we see Sandman as he's trying to create a new life, or a lease on life, but Dr. Octopus points him in the back, and he's threatening the family that Sandman is living with a bomb, and basically is forced into joining the Sinister Six. So again, we can see the crazy arms from Dr. Octopus here, and he's talking to Sandman and just bribing him into joining the Sinister Six. And at the end, he's just basically saying, "What do I have to do, Ock?" And Octopus is saying, "Well, that's better, Mr. Sandman." You can see the facial expression that Sandman's all pissed off, and and Doc Ock is basically saying now that I'm preparing the crowning keeper of my criminal career, and that's all I need, some very special accomplices. And basically, in the next issue is the return of Mysterio, and you can see the last page here is with Doc Octopus. So very detailed work. So this was the beginning of the return of the Sinister Six. Basically, my tribute to the Sinister Six of today. So that is it for this particular issue. Again, the issue wasn't like the best story, but it had to start somewhere. So they got a couple of the key members in place. Dr. Octopus is planting the seeds, and we see kind of a backstory. But as the series goes on, it definitely gets a lot better, and there's a lot more action with these main characters. And you get to really see the focus of Eric Larson's artwork in this. And I think, is it David, who's the writer? Yes, David Michelin was the writer in this book at the time. So if you guys remember reading this series that I'm talking about, just let me know. Write some comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we're going to go all the way through. Okay, so that is it from now. This is Spider Slayer saying thanks for watching, guys, and everyone at the CCC. I hope you're continuing to enjoy the channel, and all our members and some of our new members out there. So take care, everyone. This is Spider Slayer signing off, guys. Take care. Bye.